What's going on, everybody? So today I'm obviously alone by myself in the car. I usually got Eric here with me, but he's obviously got a lot better and more important things to do, and Perry's working, so he couldn't do it. So I'm here in the car by myself, and the reason why I'm doing it in my car this time is just so I can get this review out as quick as possible for you guys, because if I do it at my house, it's going to be much more well produced, which means it's going to take more time to get it out there. So yeah, that's why I'm here. So obviously you clicked on this video to hear my thoughts on the Midsommar director's cut. This is what Ari Aster calls the best version of the film, at least what he considers to be the best version of the film. To be quite honest, I did not think I was going to be able to watch this and even give a review out for you guys, because when I first heard about that this was actually going to get a theatrical release, I heard it was going to be extremely limited. I assumed that only maybe like New York and California was going to get it, and that was it. And I also knew that apparently it wasn't going to be on the Blu-ray either, because Lionsgate owns the rights to the Blu-ray, so it wasn't going to be on there either. So I kind of accepted the fact that I wasn't going to be able to see this at all, at least for like years, until it somehow leaked on the internet or something. But fortunately, it was playing in one theater in my city, one showtime, and I was able to fucking see it. So after watching it, guys, is it an improved version on the original? I think that's gonna differ from person to person, but I think the majority consensus right now for most people is that it is an improved version. And in my personal opinion, I kind of have to agree with the majority. I think if you are a Midsommar fan and you already really enjoyed Midsommar, I think that you're gonna really dig this director's cut for sure. But to be quite honest, I think that if you weren't a fan of Midsommar and you want to go see the director's cut just to see if you like it better, I'm not quite sure if this is gonna really change your mind at all, because it does make it a lot longer. For me, this definitely felt longer. Not that it was a real problem while I was watching it, but I definitely felt the film's runtime, and I don't know if everybody's gonna feel that way, but this definitely did feel like a long film, but I thoroughly enjoyed every second of it. I thought all the footage that was added, and all the nuance that was there was actually pretty important in terms of the relationship between Danny and Christian, which is Florence Pugh's character and Jack Raynor's character. Because in the original Midsommar cut, it was, I didn't think it was necessarily ambiguous in terms of Christian's moral character. I kind of already knew that he was a douchebag, and not necessarily that he deserved to die. By the way, spoilers. If you want to hear a spoiler-free review of this film, I have a whole spoiler-free review. Just go check that out. But this is gonna have some spoilers in it, so don't watch this video if you don't want to hear any spoilers. But anyway, not that I think, Jack Raynor's character deserved to die in that way, or, deserved to die at all. But the director's cut definitely doesn't leave anything open in terms of trying to interpret his moral character. Because I've run into a lot of people online, really trying to defend Christian in this film. Saying that, that they really feel bad for him because he was put in a really tight spot, and that, he was coerced to have that weird sex ritual, and it was basically rape. And, not saying that it technically might not have been some form of rape, but, in my personal opinion, it's pretty clear that he's not a very good boyfriend, and that he was pretty much, wanting to cheat and wanting to have sex from the very beginning. And I think even the original cut makes that fairly obvious. But the director's cut pulls no punches in terms of portraying Jack Raynor's character as a piece of shit. But before I dive more into that, let me see if I can remember all of the new shit that was added in this film. For starters, in the first act of this film, there aren't any like brand new scenes, but there are some extended scenes. One that I can remember off the top of my head was, in the beginning, after Danny figures out that Christian was gonna go to Sweden without her. That scene in the original cut basically stops at a certain point, but in the director's cut, it goes on further, and Florence Pugh's character, Danny, is literally like begging for forgiveness and is pleading to Christian to like, please forgive her. She's just paranoid, and she's sorry for cornering him, pressuring him and cornering him like that. And then Christian tries to pull it off as like, well, you know, I was gonna invite you. It was gonna be a birthday surprise. And it's just like, everybody in the theater was just like laughing really loud at that. By the way, pretty annoying theater experience again. Everybody just laughs way too much during this movie. I just don't get it. Like, I really don't see what's so damn hilarious about a lot of the stuff in here that they were laughing at. I mean, sure, some things are funny and I laugh at, but there's like clearly like parts that aren't funny and the entire audience is just dying of laughter. And like you know, the part where pretty much in the third act where Christian is sitting at that long table after Danny gets crowned May Queen, and he's, you know, having this kind of bad trip and having bad anxiety, and he goes to the guy next to him and he's asking him what's going on, and the guy claps in his face and he has this blurred like trip going on. Everybody was dying. I mean, they were like in tears from that. I don't get it. I don't see how that was really funny. Like, maybe a chuckle, but they were dying laughing. Anyway, that's a tangent. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so that scene goes on, and it definitely shows you that this guy is such a dishonest dude who will basically do anything to make sure that he doesn't look like the bad guy. Like, it doesn't matter if he's obviously the bad guy and there's obviously an issue with him. Like, he's going to make sure that he is not the asshole here. And so besides that, so when it comes to the actual commune and the cult, when they actually get there are, I believe, 2 entire scenes that weren't in the original film. One that is kind of not too big of a deal. It's just like kind of another singing ritual thing. Wasn't really much going on there, but it was just kind of nice to see more of what the cult is doing. But there's another one, a pretty long scene, that takes place at a lake, and it's basically this sacrificial ritual scene involving a little girl who's basically volunteering to sacrifice herself and drown herself in the lake. And then Florence Pugh's character, Danny, you know, doesn't want to see that, so she stops, you know, she asks them to stop, and they actually, you know, they stop. And that scene extends even more to where Danny and Christian are now arguing because Danny's like, yo, this is fucked. I want to go home. This is not normal. We need to find a way out of here. This is not safe. I don't feel comfortable. We need to get out of here. And Christian is just like, nope, sorry. I'm staying here because this is for my thesis. And if you want to go, you can go, but I'm staying here because, you know, this is important to me, so I'll see you later. And again, like, not really a good thing to do as a person. And then on top of that, he somehow tries to find a victim complex within himself by blaming her for giving him flowers, like earlier. Like, you know that scene where she picks flowers for him? He finds a way to make himself the victim as if she had some sort of ulterior motive by giving him flowers to make him feel bad. And I'm just like, really? Like, that makes no sense. Like, you're obviously trying so hard to make yourself look like not the asshole. Like, you, again, like I was said earlier, this is another example of him just doing the most he can to not look like the asshole, and he wants to be the victim. And obviously, he's not the victim, really. Like, she is obviously more of a victim than he is, like, by a mile. And that's just another really telling scene that really shows you, like, there is no ambiguity when it comes to Christian's character. Like, he is a pretty selfish, leechy, unpassionate douchebag. Oh, and by the way, there's also some more extended scenes that shows that Christian was trying to leech off of Josh's thesis from, like, the very beginning. And again, that's really telling about his character as well. And yeah, so I'm trying to think of other things that were in it. I think there's a few other, like, scenes that were slightly more extended. But overall, like, I feel like this film, the director's cut, I personally like it a bit more, just because I like that there's absolutely no room for anybody to try to defend Christian's character, because for me, in the original cut, for me it was obvious that, you know, he's not a good boyfriend and he's not a good person. But it does leave maybe a little bit of room for people to try and defend his case. But in the director's cut, I really think if anybody is trying to defend him at this point, like, they are just sincerely overreaching. Not saying that you can't have some sort of sympathy for his character. That's not what I'm saying at all. I even slightly felt for him, almost slightly more this time around. But, you know, when it comes to whether or not he is a good boyfriend or a good person, or if he's really even trying, you know, because some people were saying, oh, he's trying his best. No, he's not trying his best, and the director's cut makes that very clear. But yeah, you know, again, like I'm saying, I think that if you are a Midsommar fan, like if you really liked Midsommar, I think that you will really enjoy Ari Aster's director's cut. But if you didn't enjoy Midsommar the first time, honestly, I don't think this is gonna do much for you. It might even piss you off a little more because it's longer, so I'm not sure. But, you know, for me personally, I think that this film, at least the director's cut, I think it is a slightly improved version of it, because it just gives you that much more nuance that I was kind of yearning for from the first one. And, you know, usually I do like films to be, you know, definitely open to interpretation and a bit more ambiguous. And this movie still has, you know, some ambiguities to it in terms of theme and character and stuff. But when it comes to something like this, I think it's a little bit more beneficial to have him more clear, maybe just a bit more clear cut, because then I think people get maybe slightly focused on the wrong things, and they're trying to make a case and interpret things in a way that I don't think necessarily were meant to be interpreted in such a way. You know, I'm not sure, because I'm not the director, but that was one thing that was bugging me out of people's interpretations out of the original cut, and the director's cut, to me, nearly squashes that almost 100%. So that was pretty refreshing for me. I don't know how most people will take it. I think some Midsommar fans, I think most Midsommar fans are going to, maybe they'll like it. I don't know if they'll like it more, but I think they'll definitely enjoy what Ari Aster had to put together in terms of all the extra footage. So yeah, like I said, I do think that this is a slightly better version than the original. So I gave the original one a 9 out of 10. So this one I'll give this like a 9.3 out of 10. It's slightly better. It's still not a perfect film. There are some things about it that slightly bother me, like in the third act, after Christian's running out naked, you see, you know, his friend Josh's foot sticking out of his leg sticking out of the ground. I thought that was a little awkward and oddly placed. But yeah, overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the director's cut. I'm really, really happy that I was able to watch it. I was fortunate enough to check it out and watch it. So I guess that's all I have to say about the director's cut of Midsommar. Thank you for clicking on this video and hearing what I had to say. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.